در بخش دوم برنامه ما میخوایم از دکتر صاحب فرید یونس که بیاین و بخش دوم برنامه را آغاز کنند. دکتر صاحب فرید یونس تفضل کنیم که بیاین.
الحمد لله بالعالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. اعوذ بالله من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. سلام و عرض ادب دارم به تمام بانوان فریخته مجلس و برادران گرانقدر و از نسیجان خالد و تیم کاریشان تشکر میکنم که مرا امسال باز دعوت کردن از امریکا. در خدمت شما هستم و واقعا خوش هستم که در جمع دوستا هستم. بسیار کوتاه بر شما دو سه کلمه را میگم برای از اینکه وقت بسیار زیق است و او ایست که ما باید که دور یک اندیشه بسیار قوی، مخصوصا جوانای ما دور اندیشه بسیار قوی دور هم جمع شویم که کل مردم، پیر و جوان، زن و مرد، شیعه و سنی، تمام اقوام او را لبیک بگویند و ما بتانیم که با یک اندیشه پیش بریم. هیچ نظام سیاسی، هیچ جنبش سیاسی بدون یک اندیشه به پیش نمیره و ما اندیشه ما باید که شهروندی و آزادی باشه یا آزادی و شهروندی باشه. ما به هیچ عنوان آزادی یک زن مسلمان یا یک مرد مسلمان در افغانستان یا غیر مسلمان، برای که یا ما در دین با هم برادر هستیم و یا در خلقت با هم برادر هستیم که ما هم اولاد آدم هستیم. لذا خواهران و برادران هندو و سیک ما یا هر مذهب دیگه که هستن اونا عین حق و حقوق داشته باشن که دیگرها دارن. ما باید که شدید مبارزه کنیم برای واژه بسیار بسیار استثماری و استعماری اکثریت و اقلیت. در طول 200 سال افغانستان به خاطر اکثریت و اقلیت تباه شد و انی هنوز هم می جریان دارن. لذا ما از جوانای ما بعضی که ما حال آستاستا از صحنه میریم و امی لگسی را به جوانای خود میدیم که جوانای ما امی را بگیرن و به پیش ببرن و برای آزادی افغانستان و برای شهروندی که هیچ زنی بر مردی و هیچ مردی بر زن برتری نداره بجز از تقوا و هیچ قومی بر قومی برتری نداره و ما همه برادر هستیم و هیچ مذهبی بر مذهبی برتری نداره، برای از این مذهب یک ساخته و بافته انسان هست. قدسیت دینی قطعا نداره، چون که قدسیت دینی نداره هر کس هرچی که میخواه باشه، شیعه میخواه باشه، اسماعیلی میخواه باشه، یک موضوع شخصی و خصوصیش است. اما هیچ وقت ما باید که بر مبنای اکثریت و اقلیت نبینیم که خواهران و برادرای شیعی ما که در گذشته ها استثمار شده بودن و تعصب برایشان صورت گرفته این گپا دیگه نشه. شما میفهمید در وزارت خارجه افغانستان تا سال 1968 1968 یک شیعه حق نداشت که در وزارت خارجه افغانستان کار کنه و اولین زن در زمان 1968 در افغانستان شامل وزارت خارجه شد. لذا ما نسل نو، خصوصا جوانای ما تنها به این احتیاج نداریم که طالب از بین بره و یک نظام روی کار بیاید. ما باید که زیربنای اجتماعی افغانستان رو تغییر بدیم. ما همه ما با تعصب خمیر شدیم و بدترین مرض روحی تعصب است برای یک مذهب، برای یک زن، برای یک قوم، هر قومی که هست. ما خودم نه شیعه هستم نه سنی هستم و مربوط هیچ قوم هم نیستم، بعضی من کابولیستم و کابولی قوم نیست و من افتخار میکنم که یک مسلمان هستم برای اینکه چیزایی که من در اسلام یافتم واقعا قابل قدر و ارزش است. از این خاطر است که گپ آخرم همیست که من همراه یک تن از دوستا از اروپا، کانادا، ایران یک جا شدیم که قانون اساسی اسلامی افغانستان رو بسازیم، اسلامی فدرالی. بعضی که افغانستان مثل که جناب استاد دکتر پیشتر مهدی فرمودن باید که ما برای اقوام و ایالات وقت بدیم که خودشان نفس بکشن در رقابت سالم شامل شوند. این به معنی تجزیه افغانستان نیست و فدرالیسم از نگاه جامعه شناسی سیاسی فدرالیسم اساسی در افغانستان ناممکن است. از خاطر ناممکن است که پیش نیاز فدرالیسم از نگاه جامعه شناسی سیاسی اول صنعت و سرمایه است و دوم یک نظام قوی عسکری است. شما همین چند روز پیش دیدین در امریکا که اگر که ترامپ مداخله نمیکرد که قوای عسکری ملی نشنال گارد لس آنجلس دکت کمش و ما نه همون قوای عسکری را داریم نه صنعت و سرمایه را داریم. از اون خاطر مثل که یگان کس بدون از اینکه مطالعه داشته باشه یک کس را فاشیست میگن. فاشیسم در افغانستان قطعا نبوده و هیچ وقت نیست. بعضی که پیشنهاد فاشیسم قوای عسکری است مثل هیتلر آلمان یا موسولینی ایتالیا و همچنان صنعت. ما نه صنعت داریم نه ما ایتنوسنتریزم قومگرایی است، اما فاشیسم در افغانستان هرگز نبوده. از بعض کسا یک برادر فاشیست میگه رایی از بی‌علمی و از ناآگاهی میشه. من خواهش کردن که گرداندگی یک پنل کنم، کسایی که میخوان که در این پنل باشن و بچه من ساعت خود کوک میکنن بعضی که ما باید این مدرن زندگی کنیم. یعنی علما میگه که اختلاف الاحکام بالاختلاف زمان، اختلاف الاحکام بالاختلاف زمان، احکام نظر و شرایط زمان و مکان تغییر میکنن. حالا ما در جامعه زندگی میکنیم که تایم منیجمنت، ارگانیزیشن اسکیل، منیجمنت، coordination of work، این چیزا بسیار مهم است. از یک کسی که جمعه از 30 دقیقه گپ میزنم یک کار درست نیست. من ساعت قید میکنم برای هر کس 4 دقیقه میتونم که اون پوینت خودت بسازم و من این 7 دقیقه گفته بودن این 7 دقیقه خلاص میکنم. بیا این کسایی که میخوایی که در پنل باشه امروی ما باشه. درست است؟ در پنل دو بچه پنل دو معذرت میکنم. این من 7 دقیقه گفته بودن این 7 جو 7 دقیقه. شکر.
دوستان به افتخار جوانای نازنین
Thank you, esteemed Dr. Yunus. Esteemed guests, Your Excellencies, friends, thank you for gathering today. My name is Sir Habibi, and I'm humbled to be the General Moderator for the Youth Voices segment of this program. Today, we convene to firmly and unequivocally announce August 15, 2021, a day of national tragedy and betrayal. And we denounce the acts committed by the cowardly acts committed by the administration at the time. On this day, through an act of disgraceful abandonment, Ashraf Ghani and his administration surrendered the Afghan state to Taliban terrorists, casting millions of Afghans into an era of darkness, fear, and oppression. This date stands a painful reminder of the collapse of a nation's collective aspirations, the destruction of 2 decades of progress, and the onset of a period in which fundamental freedoms, the pursuit of knowledge, and the rights of women were sacrificed to violence, fanaticism, and intolerance. We declare this betrayal shall never be forgotten and forgiven. With a unified voice and an unwavering spirit, we condemn both the Taliban and every form of treachery committed against our nation, Afghanistan, as Afghans. We owe a profound moral duty to the blood of our martyrs, to the suffering of displaced Afghans, and to future generations. To preserve the truth, to remember the sacrifices and to ensure that the bitter events of August 15 will never be repeated. In the spirit of unity, the Afghan Canadian youth, we have convened today to address one fundamental question. How can we steer Afghanistan out of its current disaster? Our first speaker is Mr. Mayhan Sarwari. Please welcome him to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most gracious and the most merciful. Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. We gathered here today to not merely remember what happened on August 15th, but to reflect on the tragedy and the tragedy that continues to shape millions of lives around the world. I remember last year on August 15th, we were here, and at the fall of Afghanistan, we had an event that we were calling up on the resistance, because at that time we had our people, freedom-loving people of Afghanistan and Afghanistan uprising against the Taliban. At the moment that our people were left alone and abandoned by our foreign allies, NATO and the rest. For decades, the Afghan people have endured in war, foreign interventions, and internal strife. Yet, they have shown resilience, raising children under bombs and facing the most difficult challenges, starting from 1979 during the holy war against the Russian Soviet Union troops until the rise of the Taliban. The fall of Afghanistan was not just political, it was the fall of educational systems, it was the fall of freedom of speech, and the fall of humanity. As everyone is aware, and we had others like Taliban was mentioning how our men, women, especially women and girls, are suffering. We have 40 million people who are handcuffed and shackled, and we have prisons such as Pulisharki and other most dangerous prisons of Afghanistan packed with specific people from specific areas and specific tribes, and that shows the discrimination and the cards of Islamic that the Taliban playing. But unfortunately, we see otherwise. Also, we must be honest that the fall of Afghanistan was not inventable. It was results of the broken commitments from the government of Afghanistan, who was the head President Ashraf Ghani, who we believe that betrayed and left Afghanistan, handed over Afghanistan to a terrorist group that the brave military personnels who are working in the defense and working in the National Army of Afghanistan sacrificed by losing thousands of the brave sons in defending the country, which over 24 hours, Ashraf Ghani handed the key to the Taliban. But today is not just about mourning, it's a call. It's a call to remember those trapped under oppression, to support those refugees to carry Afghanistan in their hearts, and ensure that sacrifices of so many people were not in vain, and the spirit of our people cannot be conquered. And that's what we believe in, and we ask the new generation who are here to amplify and be the voices of their sisters, for the women of Afghanistan, and our brothers who need to be amplifying the voices of our freedom fighters, our diplomats, our doctors, intellects, and those who are speaking against this regime inside Kabul, but they're being imprisoned. Let us honor Afghanistan not by words alone, but by action. Let us amplify Afghan voices, protect their rights, and keep their struggle alive in our conversation, our policies, and our hearts. Because Afghanistan is not truly fallen. As long as its people stand, hope stands with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarwari, and your well-found reflections. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Marwa Azizi to come and share her reflections. Please welcome Ms. Marwa Azizi.
Alright, assalamualaikum everyone and good afternoon. First, I want to thank the organizers for creating this space for youth voices. To the community leaders and fellow speakers, your presence here today is a reminder that Afghanistan's future is a shared responsibility. And to everyone in attendance, whether you've come from near or far, thank you for bringing your time, your energy, your hearts to this conversation. Your willingness to listen and engage gives me hope that change is possible. My name is Marwa Azizi, and I hold a bachelor's degree in public health and a master's degree in disaster and emergency management. My work is primarily rooted in healthcare equity, public policy, and social justice. From working with cross-border leaders, including US and Canadian politicians on pressing policy matters, to empowering marginalized women through nonprofit and community organizations, I have dedicated myself to uplifting those whose voices are far too often silenced. I live in Canada, but Afghanistan lives in me. I carried in my own memories of roaming the streets of Kabul, feeling its heartbeat in the busy markets and the laughter of children playing in alleyways. I carried in my family stories of Kabul, once alive with music, laughter, and hope. And I carried in their desperate silences on August 15, 2021, moments when words failed because the loss was too deep and the future was too uncertain to name. Today I stand here with one question. If our generation does not choose unity over division, who will? Afghanistan, our motherland, is in crisis. Our politics unstable. Our economy is collapsing. Families are breaking under poverty in front of our very own eyes. Communities are divided along ethnic and sectarian lines. Human rights are erased for millions, especially our women and girls. And so when I hear statements like, as part of the Pashtun culture, it is enshrined that women should stay at home from neighboring leaders, I have to respond. Culture should never be used as a shield to confine half a nation's potential. Afghan and Pashtun culture has always been stronger when women have been active in public life, as teachers, doctors, entrepreneurs, and leaders. To confine women to home is not to preserve culture, it is to diminish it. My own journey as a Pashtun woman and our shared history prove that when women step forward, entire communities move forward. I want to emphasize that this is more than a political issue. We have a deep fracture in the soul of our nation, and no piece of paper, no one-signed agreement can heal that on its own. Healing takes more. It takes truth, it takes trust, accountability, and it takes the courage to look at one another and say that we are still one people. We've reached this point because cycles of revenge have taken the place of reconciliation, because power has been held too tightly by a few instead of being shared by everyone. Because our institutions are weak and our politics lean too heavily on those who don't share the vision we have for Afghanistan's future. But history shows that when Afghans come together, whether that's rebuilding villages after war or forming strong communities abroad, just like this one, we can bridge those divides. We have done it before and we can certainly do it again. I envision an Afghanistan where a Hazara child and a Pashtun child sit side by side at the same desk, not as a symbol, but simply as classmates. Where women aren't told to wait for their rights because they already have them. Where prosperity isn't trapped in one city, but reaches every corner of the country. And where reconciliation doesn't mean forgetting, it means remembering honestly and still choosing to trust each other again. And this is how I see our envisioned Afghanistan come to existence. Politically, we need an inclusive national dialogue and a Truth and Reconciliation Commission where every voice is heard no matter where it comes from. Economically, we can harness the power of the Afghan diaspora and bring in investment and create vocational training that gives young people the tools and rebuild industries from the ground up. For reconciliation, we start at the community level, truth-telling circles, inter-ethnic cultural exchanges, and national projects that require us to work side by side. For human rights, we commit to education for all, to women leading at every level of society, and to protecting minority communities, not as an afterthought, but as a foundation for lasting peace. We, the youth in the diaspora, have a duty. We must advocate for Afghanistan on global stages. We must connect skills, resources, and opportunities from abroad to the people who need them most. We must build bridges between communities that have been taught to fear one another. And lastly, we must invest not just monetary resources, but time, trust, knowledge into shaping an Afghanistan that thrives. I want to end my speech by reiterating that rebuilding Afghanistan isn't just a political challenge, it's a moral calling. We cannot accept the division of the past as our inheritance. We must be the generation that chooses reconciliation instead of revenge, hope instead of fear, and unity instead of suspicion. Because reconciliation isn't the end of our struggle, it is the start of the future we build together. Thank you all for listening, for caring, and for being part of this conversation. I truly believe that together, through our voices, our actions, and our courage, we can help Afghanistan heal and thrive.
Thank you, Ms. Marwa Azizi, for your well-found reflections. Our second speaker is Ms. Ilala Siddiqui. Please welcome her to come to the stage.
I just want to say thank you, Marwa John, for your beautiful remarks. Throughout my speech, I'll echo your thoughts around reconciliation. Okay. سلام خدمت همه بزرگوارا و دوستان حاضر در مجلس. با امید صحت و سلامتی تک تکی از شما. الهه صدیقی هستم و میخوایم چند نکته مهم از زندگیم را به شما شریک بسازم. مادرم از ازبکستان است و پدرم از کابل افغانستان. از زمان طفولیت والدینم همیشه مرا تشویق کردند در درس خواندن و که هیچ وقت از آرزوهایم دست نکشم. و امروز یک از آرزوهایم برآورده شده و من از ته دل از والدینم تشکر میکنم. السلام علیکم همگیزگه. اسمم الهه. آنم ازبکستانلیک، آتم ایسا افغانستانلیک. بالaliğimden ota-onam her daim menga o'qish kerakligini, orzularimdan hech qachon voz kechmasligim kerakligini uqtirib kelishgan. Ularning duosi va qo'llab-quvvatlashi natijasida shu yerdaman. Shu sababli ota-onamga ta'zim qilaman. Ular bo'lmaganda men bu loyihani amalga oshirishga yurak topolmagan bo'lardim. As you may heard me speaking both Dari and Uzbeki, I am an Afghan Uzbek born into a culture rich with tradition, poetry, and pride, but raised in Canada. Growing up here, I witnessed something Afghanistan has been missing for far too long. The ability to hold on to your identity while still belonging to one united country. In Canada, you can walk down one street and hear 5 languages. You can see 5 different cultures represented in the space of a few steps. People keep their languages, their traditions, their stories, and still proudly call themselves Canadian. No one tells you to erase your identity, to be part of something greater. The respect for diversity is what strengthens this country. That is the kind of unity Afghanistan deserves. But for decades in Afghanistan, too many decisions have been made from one place, by a small group far removed from the everyday realities of the people. And when power is so centralized, whole regions are left behind. Roads remain unbuilt, school stays underfunded, local voices are ignored. This isn't unity, it's neglect. And neglect is what breeds division. This is why when the question, how do youth envision the pathway out of the current disaster, is asked, I believe in federalism. Not because I want Afghanistan to fragment, but because I want it to come together in a way that lasts. Federalism gives our provinces the authority to decide on their own education systems, protect their own languages, while the central government focuses on what unites us all, our security, our place in the world, and our shared Afghan identity. It means a farmer in Badakhshan can determine how to strengthen his harvests. A teacher in Kandahar can ensure her students learn in a language they understand. An Uzbek girl in Mazar-e-Sharif can hold on to her heritage while proudly calling herself Afghan. Federalism doesn't weaken a nation. It strengthens it by making sure no one is left invisible. And as we gather here today, it is it's impossible not to feel the weight of tomorrow. August 15th marks the fall of Afghanistan, a day that changed our nation forever, a day when millions of Afghans felt a part of their identity crumble. For many of us in the diaspora, it was the day we realized that home, as we knew, might never be the same. But I don't believe that day has to define our future. I believe that August 15th can also be a reminder of what is at stake and why we must keep moving forward. Because we cannot afford to keep repeating the mistakes that brought us here. We cannot keep centralizing power in a way that silences communities and fuels mistrust. Our diversity is not the reason Afghanistan fell. Ignoring it is. The way forward is not in erasing our differences, but in protecting them while building one home together. Federalism offers us that path. It takes our differences and turns them into strength. It gives each Afghan a stake in that country's success so that no one feels that losing Afghanistan means losing themselves. Our wagon is moving, not backwards into old mistakes, but forward into an Afghanistan where belonging is real, an Afghanistan where we no longer sell ourselves short, but present ourselves to the world as Afghan, united, proud, and determined to stand tall again. Tomorrow marks a day of loss, but today, let it also mark our commitment to a future where no Afghan is left out. We are working toward being Afghan again, not just in name, but in spirit. And when that day comes, when every Afghan feels seen, heard, and respected, we will no longer be just a country on the map. We will be a home built on unity, dignity, and hope. So I ask you tonight, let's make sure August 15th is never just a day of mourning. Let it be the day we look back on and say, that was the turning point. That was when we stopped waiting for change and started building it ourselves. That was when we decided that no matter where we live, Kabul, Kandahar, Bamyan, Mazar Sharif, or Toronto, that we are all part of the same future. Because Afghanistan will not rise again by accident. It will rise because we, the Afghan people, pulled together, put our hands on the wagon, and refused to stop pushing until it reached home.
Truly Nutringis, Uchun Rahmat, Mesabaha, thank you so much. Our third speaker is our good friend, Ms. Roya Saifi. Please welcome Ms. Roya Saifi to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters. My name is Roya Saifi, and I'm here to speak about the aspirations of the future of Afghanistan. When Afghans hear the word federalism, the reactions are mixed. Some are curious, some are envious, but some instantly assume it means dividing the country. But fear doesn't arise from hostility or bad intentions. It comes from misunderstanding. In a nation where unity has been fragile, where extremists have left scars, and where trust between communities have eroded, the idea of sharing power can also feel like a threat. But that fear exists for a reason. Federalism has never been clearly explained in our language, culture, or in a way that connects to daily lives of Afghans. Until it is, misunderstanding will continue to shape the conversation, and fear will continue to silence possibility. Let's talk about a fractured nation. Afghanistan today is not only just politically unstable, it's emotionally fractured. Trust between communities have failed. Ethnic cleansing and regional identities treated as dividing lines rather than threads of a shared heritage. Central power has promised unity, but in practice, it is often done the opposite, turning Kabul into a battleground for dominance rather than a platform for cooperation. In this race for control, voices of many provinces are drawn out. Local needs are ignored, and entire communities are made to feel invisible. What federalism really means. By definition, federalism means united under federation, one country, one constitution, one national identity, but with space for each region to govern its own local affairs. Because every region has different needs. Federalism is not only the breaking part of a nation, it's the stitching of its fabric. Federalism is the opposite of division. It's the glue that holds together the nation, that are culturally, linguistically, and regionally diverse. It's the foundation of a stronger unity. The antidote to ethnic nationalism. Federalism weakens the fear that fuels ethnic nationalism. When communities know their rights and cultures are protected by laws, there is no reason to break away. Why Afghanistan needs federalism. Canada allows Quebec to preserve its French identity without leaving Canadian fold. Spain's region celebrate distinct cultures while remaining united. Australia's states govern local matters but function under one federal system, just as like as Canada. Federalism hasn't divided, it's unified. Afghanistan is a tapestry of Persian, Pashto, Uzbek, Turkmen, Hazara, Nuristani, Baluch, Pamiri, and Pashai. A centralized system tries to stitch the tapestry with one thread, and it's coming apart. One size fits all governs cannot meet the needs of every region. In many rural areas, opportunities remain scarce. Long-standing barriers are progressed. A federal model where provinces manage their own affairs with a national framework will allow communities to address local challenges directly, building schools, repairing roads, improving healthcare, and fostering growth. Understanding is essential, but we cannot embrace what we do not understand. To many Afghans, federalism feels foreign, simply because it hasn't been explained. We need education in every language, through books, visuals, forms, radios, mosques, and through other people. People should learn about federalism through schools, parties, villages, and through communities. It must move from political disclosure to a shared civic idea. The path forward. To heal, we need both structure and spirit. Federalism offers the structure and unity through diversity. Reconciliation offers the spirit, the will to listen and rebuild trust. Together, they can turn Afghanistan into a resilient federation where every group belongs and contributes. Federalism does not only weaken the country, it makes it stronger and strong enough to include everyone. Our strength won't come from forcing sameness, but building a nation where every community feels at home under one roof and with one future.
Thank you, Ms. Roya Saifi, for your reflections on federalism and why we need it so much. Our next speaker is Ms. Hadia Yaqoubi. Please welcome Ms. Hadia Yaqoubi to the stage. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, fellow Afghans, my name is Hadia Yaqoubi, and like many of you, my heart lives in two places. One is here in the safety of the diaspora, the other beats without rest in the mountains, valleys, and cities of Afghanistan. A land that has suffered so much, yet still holds to dream of peace. I often ask myself, how do we pick Afghanistan out of this storm? Out of this political chaos, economic despair, sectarian wounds, ethnic division, and the human rights nightmare we see today. Here is to acknowledging the reality. Our nation is fractured. Not only its institutions, but its very trust among communities. We have seen political leaders put power before people, treating governance as a prize rather than a responsibility. We have seen economic opportunities vanish overnight, replaced by uncertainty, poverty, and an exodus of talent. We have seen rights, especially those of women, ethnic minorities, and marginalized voices, trampled as if they were privileged to be granted or revoked instead of unalienable truths. We have witnessed sectarian mistrust the pain, with communities retreating into isolation rather than engaging in dialogue. Ethnic polarization has been manipulated by those seeking to divide us for their own gain. Corruption has made public confidence go down, making citizens believe that justice is a luxury only the powerful can afford. But we cannot begin to fix this unless we admit a hard truth: the centralized system of power in Afghanistan's history have failed to make all Afghans feel seen, heard, and protected. Too often, decisions made in Kabul have overlooked the realities of the provinces, dismissing local knowledge, traditions, and needs. The result has been a cycle of alienation where the government is seen not as a unifying force but as a distant authority. Until we address this structural imbalance, no amount of aid, speeches, or temporary peace deals with hope. What lessons have we learned? History teaches us that governance in a diverse nation cannot be one-size-fits-all Afghanistan. It's not homogeneous. It's a mosaic of cultures, language, religions, and traditions. When diversity is ignored, the nation weakens. When it's respected and empowered, the nation thrives. We have also learned that reconciliation is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Without healing the mistrust between communities, no constitution, no government, and no leader can hold the country together. How can the vision of federalism for Afghanistan unity be understood? Around the world, there are examples of nations that turn diversity into power. Canada, where a strong federal government coexists with powerful provincial governments, allowing Quebec to protect its language and culture while remaining part of the national family. Spain, where autonomous communities like Catalonia have self-governance while contributing to the shared national identity. Australia, where states manage their own affairs under one united federal system. The common tree, a strong constitution that guarantees equality, rights, and representation, paired with provincial governments that understand and serve their communities. This model amplifies unity not by raising difference, but by making every region feel it belongs. Concrete pathways forward. First, national dialogue for federalism. Begin with a reconciliation process where all ethnic, sectarian, and political groups openly discuss how power can be shared fairly. Second, draft a federal constitution. One that protects human rights, guarantees inclusion, and limits the abuse of central power. Third, empower provincial governance. Allow local governments to handle education, culture, and development while the federal government manages national defense, foreign policy, and economic integration. Diaspora rule. We can advocate for division internationally, share expertise from our host country, and connect Afghan province with global partners. Federalism is not a division. It's a unity with dignity. Reconciliation is not forgiving, it's building. Trust where there was once suspicion. Together, they form the foundation of a peaceful, inclusive Afghanistan. Let us boldly and work tirelessly so one day every Afghan from Herat to Badakhshan, from Kandahar to Bamiyan will say, I belong, I am heard, and I am part of one Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hadia Yaqubi. Thank you to all our distinguished speakers for their thoughtful and passionate insights. We've just heard their compelling perspectives on reconciliation and federalism. Now, I would like to make a note that previous thought leaders in the past have spoken about federalism in Afghanistan. I would just like to make note that the federalism that the youth in Canada are speaking about is a federalism that is the system, the incumbent system in Canada, the Canadian understanding of what a federal government is, and it's a separate movement of youth. What we can deduce from that is that these systems are more than just political structures. They're frameworks for unity and diversity. Now, before we close, allow me to offer a few technical notes on federalism and why this discussion is so relevant. Not just in theory, but in practice. At its core, federalism is a system where power is constitutionally divided between at least two levels of government: a central or national authority and regional or provincial authorities, each with its own defined areas of responsibility. In most federations, the Constitution explicitly protects the powers of the regions from being overridden by the central government. This is what makes a federation different from a unitary system. As someone who serves both as a president of a federal liberal association for one of the electoral ridings in Ontario, and as a director for a provincial federal association, I see firsthand how this works in Canada. Here, our federal government handles our national defense, foreign policy, monetary policy, which is the Ministry of Finance, and matters that require national consensus, while our provinces and territories manage healthcare, education, natural resources, and much of the local infrastructure. This division isn't just administrative. It ensures that governance is responsive to local needs while preserving a shared national identity. In the Canadian context, this means that what works in urban Toronto may not be the right approach for rural Saskatchewan and vice versa. Anyone who has been to Saskatchewan can have a keen understanding of that, which I have been there. Provinces tailor their programs, budgets, and policies to their unique demographics, economies, and cultural realities, all while contributing to a larger federation. Afghanistan's diversity, its languages, beautiful ethnic tapestry, traditions, and regions is its greatest asset, but also its greatest governance challenge for the past 5 decades. Federalism offers a way to channel that diversity into strength rather than division. It protects regional autonomy while ensuring unity under one national framework, one constitution, one shared destiny. As our speakers highlighted, for federalism to succeed, public understanding is key. That means educational materials and media in all major and minority languages. Farsi Dari, Pashto, Uzbek, Turkmen, Baluchi, Nuristani, Pamiri, Pashto, and beyond. It means explaining that federalism is not fragmentation, but the antidote to it. Canada's own history shows that a strong federation can withstand deep cultural and linguistic diversity. Even regional nationalist movements, by providing a democratic structure that respects local autonomy and promotes national solidarity. We're here to suppress separatism through a framework, not promote it. In Afghanistan, if Afghanistan is to move towards civilian prosperity, it must build governance systems that empower every region to thrive, while keeping the whole family firmly bound together. Federalism is not a foreign imposition. It's a tool, a political science tool, proven in practice to weave our many threads into a single lasting fabric. As we conclude this segment, we have heard compelling reflections on the deep fractures in Afghanistan's governance and the urgent need for this model to genuinely serve all its people. Federalism is not just a political theory, it's a framework that has worked in many countries. I would like to repeat once again, and this balance in Canada means that national priorities such as defense, foreign affairs, and interprovincial trade coexist with provincial control over healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Areas and sectors that need provincial autonomy because it can't be a one-size-fits-all. This division of powers allows provinces to respond to their unique economic and cultural realities while contributing to the overall unity of the country. For example, Quebec can preserve and promote its French language and culture while Alberta focuses on managing its natural resources, all within one national framework. Now, the same principle could serve Afghanistan as well, and very well. Instead of forcing every province into the same mold, a federal system could allow each region to design policies and budgets that match its own needs and aspirations while still committing to national solidarity. Federalism could address chronic inequities that have plagued rural areas, improve local accountability, and foster healthy competition among provinces to deliver better services. At an economic level, imagine the benefits for provinces like Host and Pincher. Host, with its agriculture potential and trade routes, could invest heavily in agricultural technology, cross-border commerce, and rural infrastructure, creating jobs and raising incomes locally. Pincher, with its strength in education, skilled trades, and tourism potential, could expand vocational training, develop ecotourism, and become a hub for skilled labor. Under a federal system, these provinces would not operate in isolation. Host's agricultural output could simply supply Pincher's markets, while Pincher's skilled graduates could help modernize Host's industries. This interdependence would strengthen both regions, weaving a fabric of cooperation and shared prosperity that uplifts the entire nation. If Afghanistan is to move towards stability and prosperity, it must build governance systems that empowers every region to thrive while keeping the whole firmly bound together. Federalism is not a foreign imposition, it's a tool proven in practice to weave the many threads into a single lasting fabric. Thank you so much.
تشکر میکنم از اشتراک جوانای نازنین. وقتی نیروی جوان با این طرز دیر و با فهم و دانش ما داشته باشیم، من یقین کامل دارم که همون آهنگ استاد زلاند است که این کشور هیچ وقت نمیگیره. در بیرون تولد میشه ولی می از بس عشق وطن میگن. در بیرون از کشور رشد میکنن ولی می بر آینده وطن طرح میده. دیگرایی که میرن در این سن سالها بر خود مسئولیت های خلق میکنن ولی اینا میان به یاد وطن. به افتخار از این نازنینا شما تشکر. سمی جان.